that one shirt. He says, whatever. That's why I didn't tell her anything. I'm glad I never opened up. She was just going to leave anyway. So.
I mean, hey, there's some truth there. It's
right.
a simplification, a gross simplification
right. Okay.
of some core truths that some Black men are already predisposed to not sharing their feelings. They will take any hurt that occurred to them. There's a lot of brothers I talk to who are still hurt about relationships they had in middle school and high school, when they didn't feel like the ladies wanted them. And so they put up a shell around themselves. So it's a simplification of a type of phenomenon, but there's also, in many ways, the idea that it's self-inflicted, that it's not something the world is doing to him. It's him doing it to himself. Like I said, a simplification of an actual phenomenon that is a process.
Yeah, Bell Hooks has a whole thing on this, where she talks about, some of these men, especially those that have mother wounds, right? They seek out women that they hope can provide that love that their mother never did. But when they get those women, they end up provoking them and treating them poorly, pushing them away, like making them pay for things. And then when the woman finally leaves, the men have confirmation bias. Like there's a confirmation bias happening there where now, okay, yeah, you were going to leave anyway because that's what women do. My mother abandoned me. You were going to abandon me, even though they pushed the woman away. And having experienced that, like, I remember that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was just like, yes, this does happen. And, from my, like everything that you said, I agree with you 100%. And from my side as a woman, particularly as a Black woman, and I think that's important too, is like when Black women, some of us attempt to help our Black men, right? Like we want to affirm them, love them, support them, because we understand all the stuff in the world, right? Brothers are facing racism. They're facing all kinds of hardships and things like that, just like we are, right? But, it's a unique thing. Black men navigating patriarchy is its own thing, right?
Yes.
And that's why I'm glad we have people like you out here to kind of do that work. But what ends up happening for a lot of sisters is we do have this kind of cultural loyalty, right? Where we, want to be supportive. And then we come up against these brothers who, unfortunately, because of the stuff that they're dealing with, end up treating us in rather abusive ways and like harming us. And we end up carrying that too. But the difference is, in a patriarchy, women are not supposed to hold on to that, right? Women are supposed to just accept that this happens and move on. And you're supposed to find the next one and keep going and keep going and keep going. Whereas in my I feel like men are given more space to hold on, like you said, to that pain from middle school. And they're not called bitter in the same way that women are when a woman ends a relationship with somebody who was knocking her around a couple of months ago. And now she's saying, I don't want to date anymore. And people call her bitter because she won't get over it. Right. I think that there's something that happens there. And I think we need more conversations about how we heal from that,
So. Absolutely. I think there's multiple things at play there, in on either side. I think universally, it's only within the last 10 years or so that we've even begun having these conversations about what are healthy relationships, what are relationships where you can share and be open. So, you and I have talked about this before, how men are not conditioned in 2025 to have kept up with many of the changes that have happened around emotional and romantic and even platonic relationships. Men are woefully being left behind. And so neither side has full capacity, just universally, right, to share and understand themselves emotionally, particularly if we're talking about like our Gen X. Right. And so, there ends up being a lot of bitterness, a lot of, and I see it literally every day, just an inability to communicate on either side, and missing each other, missing the mark with each other, which can lead to a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. And unfortunately, if that bitterness hardens into resentment, then, you're going to cycle through some relationships and keep making yourself a target in a lot of ways. And hurt people are going to go out and keep hurting people.
Yeah. That's true. Until they are able to alleviate that hurt, right? One of the things I said is that, for some of these men, until they are able to heal from that pain caused by their mother, in whichever way it happened, they're going to keep either seeking that healing in the women they date, or they're going to punish their mothers through those women. And, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And I think similar things happen with women who date men who have been harmed by maybe their fathers or even their mothers. It's a whole lot going on. And I think sometimes we oversimplify, and that's kind of the ridiculousness of that particular comic, is that I'm just like, like somebody said, this was really a wild oversimplification of like what's really happening there. And so, how do we get into that? But whatever. Let's get into political theater. Sorry, go ahead. You finish. You wrap it up.
I was just going to say, it could be. So I think if you are with good faith using these things to have conversations, like I know that artist in particular has a lot of pain, that he's often using his art as a way to force conversations. But unfortunately, because of the internet being what it is, like nuanced discussions about these issues end up getting lost. And I think the discourse between Black men and Black women, particularly online, that's not all over the world, but the online discourse is in such a disparate place that it is hard to have these conversations with clarity. Sometimes people are just making jokes online. Sometimes people are genuinely trying to solve their problems. And sometimes people are just firing shots out there because they want clicks and likes. And so until we can take many of these discussions offline and truly get into the work of helping to heal people, the work I'm doing every day, the work I know you do in your own education, and in educating young people and in educating college students, until we're really willing to get our hands dirty, it's all just jokes and clicks on the internet.
Correct. And a lot of the jokes and the clicks and the things like that are for people seeking attention. They doesn't matter, because they just need somebody to see them. Somebody needs to see me today.
I need to be visible.
Even if you call me a loser, at least you acknowledged me, so a guy just actually just responded to me. He said he did a screenshot of my profile. He said it made my day.